my brain works in a way where it's like, it's numbers driven, it's very analytical. It's like, bam, 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 we've hit the numbers, let's go. So I couldn't do what realtors do. So I've been in the loan side since January 2019, and I would never go back.
So welcome guys back to the podcast. Have an amazing guest. When you have the opportunity to interview a CEO, you have no choice but to do it. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man.
So could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Abdul Erinfolami. I'm a mortgage broker. I own a mortgage company called LoanSpot. Just a little bit.
Okay. So we were actually already talking a little bit. We almost got into your experience starting a mortgage company, but we were talking about banking in general.
Yeah.
So let's dive back. So we were talking about starting an actual bank, but you just told me it costs $50 million just for the license?
From what I've heard, so I don't have a bank. I have a mortgage brokerage, so it's a little bit different. You know, we don't fund. We kind of shop around for the consumer. But from what I've heard from friends of mine that have tried or embarked on a journey, I mean, you need to be very liquid. I mean, one of them mentioned at least 50 mil in their balance sheet. There's a whole process that you have to go through. I mean, it's definitely not easy nowadays to start a bank for sure, because it's a depository. There's so many regulations, so many other things you have to go through. And he was only looking to do it for credit card services. So
how did you get into the mortgage business?
Mine was random, actually. I got in the weirdest of ways. So my family and I came here from Nigeria back in 2003. So I wasn't born here. And I grew up north of Chicago, Andersonville, and I went to college, and I wanted to get into medicine because that's what my mom wanted. But while I was in school and college, I worked full-time as a personal trainer at Export Fitness, actually. And they don't even exist anymore. They sold to LA. But I worked full-time there, and it was a commission-based job, and it was the only job I could work that allowed me to have a full-time schedule with school. So I kind of fell in love with sales and eating what you kill kind of mentality. And I then realized that I didn't want to go to medicine, and we were poor, so we didn't have money to afford grad school anyway. And one of my clients who became a mentor of mine, who was a doctor, actually introduced me to a real estate agent, who then introduced me to a mortgage company owner out of Andersonville. And then I interned with them for 6 months and kind of took it from there.
Okay, so you talked to a real estate agent, and then they pointed you to someone in the mortgage space. How did that go? You weren't interested in becoming an agent?
I couldn't do what realtors do, man. I mean, the level of what do you call it? Emotional tax that they deal with on a regular basis is high compared to what we do. Majority of our stuff is numbers, right? And then we got to get the client to like us so they proceed or whatever. But realtors have to drive around, they have to be therapists, they have to be so many different things. If I had a client that came to me and they were I don't like this house because I don't like the vibe of it, I don't know what I would I don't even know what I would say. I'd be what? My brain works in a way where it's it's numbers driven, it's very analytical. It's bam, 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 we've hit the numbers, let's go. So I couldn't do what realtors do. So I've been on the loan side since January 2019, and I would never go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started off as an intern. How did you transition to being an actual loan officer?
Yeah, good question. So I worked for this company. I was relatively an intern. The owner had a lot of business. High producing LO did I think around that time he was doing $150 million a year. Wow. And he'd been in the industry, him and his husband, for quite some time. And the way they kind of trained me and other new LOs was different. It was pressure makes diamonds environment with them, where they tossed this in the fire right away. It was here are our clients, work with them, talk to them, here are your scripts, make sure you read them right, make sure you know what you're doing. And it was one of those things where if you didn't finish your task for the day, you're going to stay at that office and you finish it. So they taught us in a way where they allowed us to kind of practice on their clients, but they overshadow us, gave us scripts. And I worked for them for a good 6 months. And honestly, I didn't make a lot of money working for them, but the lessons I learned from them is invaluable. I mean, those guys really, because once I got out into the industry and I got recruited by a company not too far from here, Neighborhood Loans.
It's a great company to work for.
Yeah.
I started my career there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Reno and Tony and them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're good guys.
They're amazing.
Hands down, the best mortgage company I've ever worked for in terms of care secure and accessibility, diversity, like they actually care. They'll call you once. Reno used to call me at least like once a week just to check in on how I was doing. Like, great, hands down, like great company.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously at a different company now.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed my experience over there, and
yeah.
like I really don't have anything negative to say about them.
No one that's ever worked there or left there has anything negative. Like, they're legit like good people.
Yeah.
But I got recruited by them eventually because my numbers eventually started climbing. They saw that, they brought me in, they trained and coached me, and I was under Dwight, one of the managers over there, and then eventually Guarantee Rate came knocking too, because they, as you do more business, other companies see that.
For sure.
And they promised the sun and the moon. I had a guy over there who was a coach, and he owns a coaching company, and he took me under his wing too, and just kind of showed me the ropes and how to sell and stuff like that. So, and then eventually my whole team left Guarantee Rate, but I kind of had in the back of my head that I wanted to do my own thing, because when you come into this country as an immigrant, you kind of like want to put your foothold in the country, right? You want to build legacy, generational wealth. So like, you can't necessarily do that fast enough working for another company. It's not like you can't, but I really liked the idea of like having my own piece of,
So how did you go from being an LO? Did you have a team, or were you solo and then started a company?
I mean, relatively solo, but I had a team. I was with other LOs that were more experienced that taught me, right, when I was at Guarantee
No, but
Rate.
like, were you leading a team?
Oh, not necessarily. It was just me. And then I had like really solid processors, like really good people. So it was just me. And then that was an interesting mind shift, because when I went into my business, I still thought like an LO instead of like a business owner.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I was doing in the first year of the business, which cost me so much money, was I was trying to be everything, And then I eventually learned delegation, hiring people, hiring the right people, because you'll hire and then you'll have to fire and then eventually get the right people.
Yeah.
So I eventually learned it, and we're going 2 years and 2 months in, and we've got, besides me, we're going to add one more team member at the end of the month, so 7 other people besides myself. Yeah.
Okay. How was it like going from, that's massive change, especially with you were on the retail side of things, right?
Yeah.
Both times, because Neighborhood Loans was retail at the time.
Yeah, both banker companies, Neighborhood Loans and Guarantee Rate, and the first company was a broker though.
Oh, okay.
That's how I got my first taste as a broker. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that transition like?
It actually wasn't that hard.
Really?
To be honest.
Sorry to interrupt you, but someone told me that too. I was like asking, like, you're thinking you're starting a mortgage company, it's gonna be crazy complicated. But he told me that it wasn't that much different than being a broker on your own.
Yeah, banker to broker nowadays isn't that big of a deal. Like, if we were like early 2000s or late 90s, like, I get it. Like, the technology was not as advanced back then. Even the first company I worked for didn't have as advanced technology as we have now in the broker world. But I mean, the only difficulty came from having the right staff, that's the right team members, delegating properly. I was throwing a lot of money on a lot of different things that didn't pan out. That was the difficulty. But the actual loan side itself, easy, because the majority of the loans I was doing before I transitioned were like 80% of them were conventional loans. So it didn't matter if you had an underwriter in-house or outside. I mean, a conventional loan is still a conventional loan. It's very cookie cutter. So it's just that style wasn't a big deal. And it was just about getting the right technology as a broker and then getting the right lender partners, wholesale partners. Because there's a lot of wholesale lenders out there that you can broker out loans to, but having the right wholesale partner that will partner with you to make sure you succeed, and having the right account executive, massive. Like, our average closing time frame for majority of our loans is like between under contract to CTC is like 13 days. So like, once you have a good system, a good team, and a good account executive at these wholesale lenders, it's just like any other company.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your goal with your company, dude?
Grow it. So we want to get bigger. We're brokers now, but we kind of want to. Something about Reno and Tony's journey kind of like, makes me like, I want to be those guys. So I want to be similar to like a Neighborhood Loans one day, where we grow the company to, because they started off as brokers themselves too. I don't know if you knew.
Yeah, they bought it from
a DJ. Yeah, they're good guys. So they started off as a broker, eventually evolved to a banker after, I think they've been around like 15 years now. So that's what kind of the story I want. I eventually want to grow Loan Spot from being just a broker to a banker itself. I don't know if I want to be as big as like a G-Ray, but Neighborhood Loans seems like a really good size.
Yeah. No, I think that's interesting, because whenever the beauty of this business is you can scale it as much as you want, and I think that's what really. I was a real estate agent. That's how I started my career.
Yeah,
that's really what made me like become a loan officer, because similar to yourself, what you said about showing properties and the client not buying it because it's not their vibe.
Yeah,
like, I couldn't see myself like closing $100 million in real estate deals.
Yeah,
but I could definitely see myself doing that as a loan officer.
Yeah,
and I think that I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about this business is you can take it as far as you want to be.
Yeah.
Right. And then the more I learn, I realize that everyone's really doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But the people at the top are just doing it way more.
Yeah.
Like that's the only difference.
Yeah.
Like everyone's, like just following pretty much the same performance indicators.
Yeah.
They're targeting the same people.
Yeah.
But everyone just doesn't. The people at the top just do it more.
It's a numbers game, is what I've learned. Like people who are more successful than I am, and I look at them, and when I was like newer in the industry too, I was never scared to DM or message someone that was like already doing triple or 100 million plus, because I just genuinely wanted to know, like, would you like just 5 minutes of your time, And I just learned they do the same activities we do. They just eventually, as they grow their business, they buy back their time. So they hire someone and delegate to do certain things for them, and then now they have more time to like focus on the income producing activities, like the relationship building, the events and stuff like that. So you'll see the guys that have been in this 20 years and have a team, like they don't even touch a loan application. They just, they have a team member that does all that, critical stuff, and then they just focus on the relationship building and the connection with the clients.
Yeah. So I recently experienced, just very recently, I had a company reach out to me to start my own branch, and I never seriously considered it, but it's like, being young and being offered it, I think that most people my age aren't being offered like mortgage branches, right? Yeah. So it was a lot to soak in at once, and I ran it by a few people, and I feel like everyone told me not to do it, and I'm not going to do it, but everyone told me not to do it, right? What were people telling you when you told them that you were going to start your own company?
Oh yeah, everyone tells you not to do it. But it's not because sometimes people just portray their fears onto you, and they don't mean ill by it, right? They're just they're like, oh my God, this is going to be so expensive. It could bankrupt you. It could you know what I mean? It's because they're thinking about it from their perspective if they were in your shoes. But the thing is, they're not you. And even if you started something or you became a branch manager and you failed at it, so what? Like, you did it. You know what I mean? It's like, I think my perspective is different because I'm an immigrant and I came from no money, no connections, nothing, right? So I've been where I'm from, you need 3 jobs to feed your family, right? So I've seen what poverty looks like bottom floor. So risk to me is never real risk, because I'm just gonna do it, and if it pans out, fantastic, and if it doesn't pan out, you just learn and then you tweak it on the next one. There are people out there that are multi-billionaires and they never talk about their failures. Everyone seems like an overnight success, Kevin Hart, overnight success. No, the guy's been acting since he was in his teenage years, and then in his 40s hit it big. So what I would say is, you just, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what people are telling you. Take what they're telling you and definitely piece it apart in terms of advice. But if it's something you have a yearning for, and you your heart is calling to you and you feel this is for me, I would do it. And what do you have to lose? You're young, you're early 20s, right? Yeah, you have nothing to lose. This is the best time to make all those mistakes before you get married or you have kids or all this stuff. When you have that, you're not going to want to take a risk. And I don't have kids yet. That's why. So this is the best time for people like us. Take that risk. Because you'll learn from being a branch manager how to run an operation. And then if you eventually want to have your own company in the future, you'll learn on a small scale how to manage that. And now you can kind of blow that out.
No, I think that's the thing that when they were calling me and telling me, like I said, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not seriously considering it. Yeah. But well, when they told me, there was the difference between right now, you don't run a business, right? So you're gonna learn how to actually run a business. Yeah. And
yeah, once you learn, you're talking compliance, you're talking payroll tax. You're talking so many things. You're talking balance sheet requirements. There's so much more than just send me a referral, get the loan done, CTC, happy. There's so much more to it than just that. Even just licensing renewal fees alone are much more when you're running your own company versus as a regular LO. So there's more reward. Obviously, you can make more, but then there's also more expense and there's also more risk. Yeah.
So what do you look for? I don't know if you're heavy on recruiting or not, But what do you look for in a loan officer when they want to join your company?
That's a good question. So we're year 2, right? We're growing. We've got a couple LOs on board. I'm still figuring out a recruiting tactic because I've never been a recruiter. So the team member we're actually bringing on at the end of this month is going to be like we're used to like calling and like setting appointments and recruiting and stuff. So we're hoping that we can start making a bit of a tweak and difference in that. I would say right now at the level that we're at, I'm not looking for like the whales of our industry. I'm not looking for anyone like 20 million and up, because what I've noticed is like we're small. They don't necessarily like that. You know, there's a bit of an ego. You know, they're like, how much do you do? Like, what if I'm doing more numbers than you? Type thing. You know.
Yeah.
So right now, I would say the sweet spot for us is LOs doing anywhere from like 3 to 10 million a year. Because I remember when I was a GR and I was averaging like 30 million a year, I was a nobody there. Like, it was hard to even get anyone to call me back, you know? So like usually guys that are doing or guys and gals that are doing 3 to 10 million are like the forgotten abouts at mortgage companies, because they're doing enough business, but it's not like so much that like the company caters to them, you know? So those are the guys that we want to bring in and like grow. Like we want to give them our videographer. We want to host events and invite them so they can meet other referral partners. We have John on our team who's phenomenal, and he's our operations guy. He'll handhold them on a lot of their transactions and their first deals just to help them out and give them like the learning stuff. So those are guys we want, because loan spot in the future is to get it to a mortgage banker. So I want to get guys in at that level, help them multiply their business so they stay with us forever. Yeah.
I think that's huge on what you said about, like, you know, right now you're not heavy on recruiting, because I think that part of the reason why I feel like, and I don't know if this is the same reason, but part of the reason why I wouldn't want to be in a leadership position is because I want to make sure that the people that I'm bringing on are taken care of.
Yeah.
And they're not just like being brought on just to be brought on.
Yeah.
And so if you're speaking to a brand new loan officer, what advice would you give them to like scale their business?
To scale their business, I would say one is build a routine. So like I feel like what helped me a lot in this industry to get a lot of referral partners and get business is I'm disciplined. So like every single day from Monday through Friday, I had a time block to do something, right? So I would say the first things first they need to do is obviously learn the ins and outs of like guidelines, loan programs, all the stuff that their company offers, right? The baseline stuff. But they should focus on building a routine where they're time blocking. Like Mondays, you're calling your top 40 realtors that you want to work with. Like it's the core coaching, you know, and I think growth or something.
Growth only?
Yeah, they teach somewhere similar to that, but that stuff works. Like it's Mondays, you're calling your top referral partners, people that you want to work with, and you're building a relationship. You're going out to dinner, you're going to play golf, you're getting to know them, right? Tuesdays, you're making update calls, right? If you don't have any files, see if you can work for someone who's already super successful and say, hey, I know you're super successful. Let me tag on and be a loan officer assistant to your files. I'll call all your realtors and update them on the files. Like, work for someone like that, because they'll appreciate that. They don't have time. If they're doing 100 million, they don't have time to make calls on Tuesdays. So like set that routine. Wednesdays, if you have pre-approvals, call them, check in on them, see how they're doing. Thursdays, if you've already closed deals, call your past clients, ask for reviews, give them recommendations on like restaurants in their neighborhood. Fridays, call VIPs, call the accountants that no one calls. No one in our industry is calling accountants. Call the financial advisors. No one reaches out to them. Everyone wants realtors. Call anyone else in our industry, HR reps for companies. Call them, get to know them, buy them coffee, because if anyone in their company is looking to purchase, they'll probably refer you. So like build a routine, and you can't be afraid to like make those calls or go meet people and like really build relationship. Like don't think about it as sales. Think about everything you're doing, even when I hop on a call with a client, as building a relationship. Because after you build that, they'll trust you. Because our industry is all about trust. So if a client trusts you, they won't shop you, none of that. You just gotta like get to know them.
No, I think that's great. Like I said, we all do the same thing, right? Like the core, like, you know, the greatness tracker. I was actually introduced to that by Reno. That's who introduced me to that.
Same.
And it was life changing. Because it's so simple, yet like it's easier said than done though. I think that, you know, if you have like, let's say like a tracker full from top to bottom, like you were working all day, which is huge, because when I started my career as a real estate agent, and I feel like part of the reason why I didn't succeed was I didn't get that kind of guidance.
Yeah.
Like, not only just like, because it's one thing that like, okay, hand someone a greatness tracker, or telling them how to, land those appointments.
Yeah.
Like
Scripting.
Like the 40 agents that you're reaching out, how are you coming up with that list of 40 agents?
Yeah.
I had a loan officer today reach out to me. He's a bit on the younger side, and he was asking me, does cold calling agents work? And I was like, yeah, I mean, it depends how you're taking the agents in cold call. If you're walking outside and you see a sign for sale and you call that agent, you're probably not gonna get them.
Yeah.
But I think that having guidance like that is huge. As far as like building a mortgage company, like what I'm really interested in is, because I mean I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I do want to see myself one day like doing that.
Yeah.
How, like, because there's different approaches within real estate and mortgages, where I see a lot of real estate agents, just real estate companies, they hire on a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
And instead of like, a boutique brokerage, right? What makes you go, like, what style do you want to do? Do you just want to get as many loan officers as possible, or do you want to have like a boutique style?
No, I would say boutique style for now makes a lot of sense for us because we can grow at a decent pace, right? And we can keep our margins pretty thin and be very competitive in terms of like rates and pricing and stuff. I would say, because I went to the approach when we first started like trying to recruit, like the first year, we were going based off numbers. Like we had a CRM that gave us like loan officer numbers. We set up SMS texts and like all these other like CRM cool gadgets, right? And we were getting people doing decent volume, responding to us, wanting to meet with us. And once in a while we'd bring somebody on and then we'd realize like, oh snap, like personality does not match. Like we're like, this person has trauma. They've been at companies that screwed them over in the past, and now they're bringing this trauma, in. And so now I've learned that like, yes, numbers, volume, and all that stuff is nice because we want someone that's producing, right? But at the same time, like, taking it a bit further and getting to know the person is a huge thing, right? Because we can try and bring on as many people as possible, but if they're not producing, it's not going to be profitable for us, right?
Yeah.
Or we can bring on someone that is producing, but they completely hate our style and it doesn't work for them, and then now we have friction and they don't want to leave or something happens, right? So what I've learned is just like, we're going to be taking it slow. Like we're going to be really vetting whoever we bring on. We're going to get to know them. We're going to go out to dinner with them. We're going to make sure it's a symbiotic relationship first, right? And we don't have to agree on everything, but like have a relationship and then say, hey, I think you'd be a great fit, come on board, and then go from there. But the main objective that I always want to keep in mind is how can I help this person? Because when I'm sitting in front of a loan officer that like is at 3 to 10 million, right? And I'm asking them how they're getting their business, and like if there's holes in it or things that I feel like I can provide to help them get more business, that's my first thought. And then I'll provide them with the value that I can provide. Because what I've learned from people who are hyper successful is that they look at every single salesperson they hire and they think like, how can I multiply their business? Because if you help multiply people's business, their income, their families are happier, everything is happier, they have no reason not to stay with you. It's usually when people feel undervalued or forgotten that they're just like, well, I'll just go somewhere else. Yeah.
No. How do you go about building like a good work environment?
So I always make it a thing that we stay in contact as often as possible. So we meet once a week virtually, or if it can happen, we'll do it in the office, right? We have an office in Park Ridge. So once a week, we're touching base at least at minimum, right? And on a quarterly basis, we go out and we do something. Like every 3 months, at the end of every 3 months, we go and celebrate. We'll play golf. We're going to meet up for a content day at the end of this month, right? So I'm going to have a videographer come in. LOs are going to get some stuff, videos and stuff done, and then afterwards I'm taking them out to like a dinner afterwards. So like contact is key, because sometimes in our world everything's so virtual. When you don't make as much contact with people, they start like slipping away. So I'm like, I need to see your face at least once a week at minimum, and then a big party every 3 months, So that's what I've been doing to making sure that we foster a good relationship. And then John on our team, my number 2 guy, honestly, the guy's fantastic. Like he's like the dad of the group, and he's just like he's talking to every LO like at least once a day. He's sending different guideline options. He's sending different ideas for them to do with agents and stuff. So like having a good number 2 also is like key. Yeah.
If you had to describe your company with one word, what word would you use?
Funny. So our slogan is 3 words. It's quick, clean, and easy. And I always say that because that's how we want every single client that comes through us and gets a loan to feel at the end of the transaction. We all know mortgages or the home buying process is never quick, clean, and easy. Like realtors carry on a lot, loan officers carry a lot, but I want to get to a point where clients don't even see that. Like it's like hidden behind the wall. And like to them, like they came, they got a loan, they found a house, and they closed happy. While we dealt with all the, attorneys arguing or inspection issues or yada, 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 So I would say it's not one word for me. It's those 3 words. Like I want that slogan to be on like a Super Bowl one day, like 10 years from now, like Loan Spot, quick, clean, and easy,
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's most of what I want to discuss.
Yeah.
So this interview was quick, clean, and easy. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a thing or two. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.